Hello, my name is Deines Mikkel. Labdien, man spart Deines Michaelis. Grüß Gott, mein Name is Deines Michael. This is a Deines.info TV show, and we are participating collectively in the Chronicles of Goodland. Goodland is a fictitious country where everything is done better. Okay? So if you're looking at your country, your state, where you're living, and you have any kind of a criticism or any kind of, let me check to see if my audio is working, okay, any kind of comment or criticism or improvement regarding how things are working in your country, in the country of Goodland, there's a bureau and it assesses dissatisfaction around globally, and because of this dissatisfaction assessment in Goodland, we're able to create policies that that create a much happier life and a safer and more more pleasant life for the grandchildren, great grandchildren's generation. So I was just, demeaned by a family member. I've been yelled at by, I don't know if you call them friends, for being sort of an armchair epidemiologist here. All I did is I took, and I'm going to explain what I have here. According to the statistics and the information that we have, thanks for the thumbs up, because I like numbers, and numbers help me. I wrote one of my first songs was about numbers. So numbers help me kind of understand what's going on around me. So I just looked, and at one point this was wrong. So a good doctor friend of mine told me that I was off by a factor of 10, right? So I was like, oops, there was an extra zero here, and it totally messed up the numbers. Look, because if Hubei province had 585 million people, then using the Hubei province statistics, only 10, 15, 7 people, in the US, only 1,751 people would die, right? So since the Hubei province has 58.5 million people, these expected death counts go up by 10. Anyway, so this is my first call for my audience to participate in critiquing your current experience with a government, and to offer suggestions regarding how things should and could work in the good country of Goodland. Goodland has, I think Goodland's on there, I have 10 million or 100 million people. I'm not sure what the population of Goodland is going to be. But Goodland is, I'm pretty sure it's like a continent. No, Goodland's going to have a border. But it's going to be like odd, because it's going to have like a border with, I don't know if it's going to have a border with the United States, but it's going to have like a border with the United States, Russia, and China, and Australia, like just and India. No, it shares a border with every continent. That's what Goodland does. I don't know how. That's funny. A fictitious country that shares a border with every other country on the planet, and we have peaceful. We have peaceful borders. So we work things out with every single country in the world here. I don't know if there's no here yet, but in Goodland, okay? So we are writing the Chronicles of Goodland, how we got through the coronavirus situation, and how we prepared for the future. Now, another thing about Goodland that's really interesting is that no conspiracy theory is off limits. In Goodland, the citizens of Goodland are prompted to investigate and to exercise discernment and to learn how to assess whether something's true or not. That means you can throw anything out there. right? Regardless of how absurd seeming, like gravity doesn't work. Gravity is pulling us all towards space, and actually everybody's wearing magnetic shoes. Well, you know, when you take your shoes off, you're still attached to the earth. Oh, well, maybe gravity does work. That kind of thing. So I was asked to add Lithuania and Estonia to my Excel table here. This isn't, and maybe I would put it in a real database because it's not really very complicated math, but I'm just going to go ahead and show you what I did. So the population of the Hubei province is 58,500,000. And as of March 2020, they declared the pandemic over. Okay, now down here I have some checking the numbers. I can even make this available. Put this turn it into like a Google document or something. I guess there's another database available. So maybe I'll have a database as well on dynast.net or something like that. But for right now, I'm just doing this to make some assessments and to kind of figure out what my what should my position be when I'm looking at the government and when I'm looking at quarantines. So also, I find myself, to be honest with you, I'm finding myself so frustrated with the level of idiocy and stupidity that I'm experiencing that I'm creating a fictional country called Goodland where things are done better. Because it feels like the C and D students on college have taken over the college campus and they're telling the university police what to do. And like the A students and the really sort of the intellectual leaders are all being marginalized and made fun of and told that they're stupid and told not to ask questions. And the C and D students are like these big bullies, like, yeah, we need to do social distancing. And you're like, okay, social distancing implies that everybody's infected and everybody infects everyone else, right? Is that true? Is that how things work? Does it make sense to quarantine everyone, or does it make sense to quarantine the people who are ill, like the way that we've been doing it for thousands of years? Why is it different now that the healthy people, symptomatic or asymptomatic, right? So as you go out with a light cold, all of a sudden you have the potential of asymptomatic people who've potentially been exposed to someone going to jail for apparently infecting someone. So the absurdity of that, it's so extreme that I'm creating a fictional country named Goodland where everything is better, okay? I'm planning on writing a book. The book is going to be released in 100 days. You will be able to buy chapters and you will be able to support this because everybody's sitting around, like everybody's doing like homework and virtual work or whatever it is. So part of what I'm doing as well is exemplifying, hey, you know, how can we stay alive financially during these social changes, some of which seem to be, some, and my language is turning into German, like berechtigt. They're either warranted or not. Now, again, in Goodland, no conspiracy theory is too crazy to mention. And also I have a fairly large audience. So if you're watching, you know, if you like what I'm saying, click a thumbs up. If you don't like what I'm saying, click a thumbs down. Write a comment, please. And also you'll notice I was just really berated by a family member for you know, making this table. And I'm apparently, I don't know, I'm pretty emotionally, I'm going to disclose myself as emotionally weak. I've allowed myself to be demeaned to the point where I haven't really been able to function, right? So I haven't, and I mean, that's a bit personal, but one of the things that's difficult for me is that I haven't finished my doctorate. I haven't finished some of the education that I wanted to finish. And I was kind of, abgelenkt is the word that's coming to my mind. I was involved with legal matters that were not of my own choosing. And I did very, 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 very well in all the legal matters that I encountered. And in a sense, that experience certainly gives me strength because I pressed charges both against the Austrian version of the IRS, it's called the Finanzamt, and against the Child Services Courts and the Child Services Department. So, and then I was told that I wasn't allowed to press charges, and then I pressed charges against the department, the individuals as employees of the department, and the individuals as individuals. So then they were like, no, you can't press charges. So I pressed triple charges. So that at least is a positive experience. And I think that I can carry that experience into what we're looking at with COVID-19. Oh man, I like what you're saying so far. To me, it seems like the coronavirus crisis has been met with dogmatism. The governments simply take arbitrary measures and everybody says yes. That's the I'm having a real problem with that, right? You have this like, okay, now all of a sudden social distancing makes sense. And I go, okay, does social distancing make sense? And I go tick, 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 tick on the computer. And I'm like, I find a study on hugging, that hugging between consenting individuals not only increases immunity, but the study is about upper respiratory tract infections. And you're like, okay, I'm trying to find information that social distancing makes sense. And the only thing I can find is that hugging makes sense scientifically. So I'm trying to find science on social distancing. And it's really kind of like, what is happening here? Because they're patrolling the streets. The police presence is chilling. My experience as being raised as an exile Latvian does not feel comfortable with this level of police presence buzzing around as if to somehow keep me safe. They're not keeping me safe. They're keeping me trapped in my house. It's really scary to see these police officers. That wasn't a police officer. Maybe, I don't know. Didn't look like a police officer. It was a motorbike thing driving around. But I live sort of up on a hill in a rather fancy neighborhood. It's a little bit out of the way. We're probably going to be moving soon because we're not that happy with certain aspects of living where we live. But we're sort of up on a hill. Nothing's happening. Like in 3 years of living here, up until 2 days ago, I saw 2 cop cars. Like, no, there's nothing going on. There's a park, there's a natural reserve, there are birds, and Austrian neighbors that sort of keep to themselves in sort of a particular way. But across the way, there's a really nice old gentleman, and his grandchild was super nice and helped me move some furniture into my apartment. Over there, there's like this sort of, I don't know, reasonably friendly neighbors. I've lived in places in Austria where we've got horrifying neighbors. And so the neighbors seem fairly nice here. And over the last few days, like literally thinking about the cops driving past, it scares me. It really, really, really scares me to see that level of police presence for what? Because then if they see me, like I have to be able to explain to them where I'm going and what I'm doing. And I'm allowed to go out and take a jog. We're allowed to spend time with people we live with, which is weird. Emmy apparently, like Emmy has been living with me for 9 years exclusively now. I don't know what she looked up. I have to look up the law. But Emmy apparently, I'm like, well, she's not that interested in seeing her mom, unfortunately. And there are reasons for that. I do everything I can to support healthy contact. But she was having a conversation with her mom a few daws ago on the phone. And she was like, no, we're not allowed. I'm only allowed to see people that I live with. I'm like, is that true? So few people are challenging the status quo. We all need to ask more questions. Christopher, thank you so much. Yeah, and your presence on Facebook and on social media, and is it called Levitons? You know what, Christopher, I need to buy your book. Okay, so please post a link to your. It's just that the problem is that I'm not like I don't really gravitate towards things where they sort of look satanic. I'm confident that you're not satanic, but like you've got this sort of demon person, and like that's kind of not my style of literature. Like, listen to what I'm writing now, you know, the Chronicles of Goodland. Like, it's going to have a map on the cover, and you know, it's all about this fantasy world of everything being good. So I don't watch horror movies. If I watch a thriller sometimes, but like, you know, I'm more action comedy. One of my two favorite movies is Galaxy Quest and the History of Future Folk. So I'm sorry, but do post your link, and if I can get through the graphics of that demon, I'll go ahead and buy your book and read it. I don't know if you've published it, but I want us all to support each other financially, to support our creative endeavors. If somebody's writing a book, please buy it. If somebody's doing podcasts, please become their Patreon sponsor. I have a friend who's a lawyer who's gonna have a super big hit in terms of income. I'm gonna help with online marketing strategies for that. I'm very, very well versed in digital communications, and so if anybody needs help with that, please contact me. If you're having a hard time transitioning from physical work to at-home work, please get in touch. But again, we may actually experience these quarantine restrictions being lifted and the government getting so much criticism that it just never comes back. Because I'm going to go through these statistics, it's really possible that business owners are going to sue the flip out of their governments, sue the flip out of the people in charge of doing this quarantine. Because why? Because please show me the science that verifies that social distancing is going to create a positive outcome for anyone. And the positive outcome is, let's take the most endangered people, the immune compromised and the elderly that are currently apparently either passing away of or with CV-19. Tell me how much longer those people will live because of this quarantine. How much longer would they have lived had the quarantine begun, let's say, November? Had the entire planet gone into social distancing on November 1st, 2019, how much longer would they have lived? And you know, who are they? One of the things that started getting me feeling really unsettled with this entire experience was I looked at the Spanish flu, and I'm like, because they started saying that children are not getting sick of COVID-19. So I was like, okay, well, they're certainly not going to close schools then. Because if you have a subpopulation that's doing what it's doing, they're going to school, they're hugging each other, they're kissing each other, sorry, they're doing that, first kisses are happening, they're using the same toilets, they're going to the cafeteria, they're eating, they're sharing food with each other. What do you mean kids? Kids are... I mean, that's, you know, kids are just, that's what they do. They're going to get their immune training, by the way, right? So people say they're bringing back infections into the home. I kind of don't feel like that. I'm supposed to have gone through those infections. I'm supposed to be immune. Sometimes my daughter comes home with the sniffles. I'm like, hey, thanks for bringing that to me, because now I have a little bit of symptoms, and then I'm good to go, right? I mean, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm close to 50, and I feel like I've burned through all my stuff. They were going to give me a new liver. I don't need a new liver. I had allergies. I don't have allergies anymore. Oh my, I still have a little bit of issues with maybe even, well, might have been a birth trauma, but from playing football, because and so high school football might have compressed my C1, or at least my musculature sort of constricts my skull. But what I'm saying is I'm close to 50. Like, I've had a phone conversation with my doctor once over the last 2 years. I have a very good doctor. Like, I have the kind of doctor where a 15-minute conversation with that doctor, like, you could pay I could pay $100, $200 for a 15-minute conversation with that guy. I have an excellent doctor. Like, and so I don't need anything. What I'm basically saying is, so about 2 years ago, I started, people would have a cold and they come up to me like, oh no, I have a cold. Don't come close to me. I might get you sick. And I'm like, you're not going to get me sick. I don't know. I don't know about you. I don't know what you've done with your health. But I was especially from around the age of 22 to the age of, I would say, 29, let's say those 7 years. And then another phase, I was really like ill to the point of being incapacitated in particular ways. And like I was really sick. I went to a volleyball weekend, and I, took my shirt off, and they said, "Hey, they call it the office burn." I was so white, I was so pale. They said that I was going to scare the sun away, and then it did rain, which is really funny. But I was sickly, like I was not healthy from right around the age of 22, 23, close to 30, and then still in my 30s, I was struggling and. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, I don't know what you're doing with your health, but when my daughter comes home with the sniffles, I'm like, cool. Like I might go down a little bit, and then I'm good to go. Like I want to be exposed to what's going around. I like getting milder versions of it. I'm not very fit. I'm not that careful with my diet, but I guess I'm above average in that sense. So what I'm trying to tell you is I'm not scared of this stuff, right? I'm good. I would have needed another kidney. I mean, it's amazing. Everything that could have, like iatrogenic is what they call it, like death by doctor. I'm telling you, man. Anyway, when I needed something, I didn't get the greatest advice. So I had to find excellent doctors. I like reading excellent science. I like listening to excellent music. I like reading excellent poetry. And I'm sorry, but really, it feels like the C and D students have taken over the university campus. And they're like, so you have to stay a meter away from each other. Where's the science? I look for science that justifies the social distancing. I can't find it. I can find a cartoon, okay, about simulitis, and I can find trust the Chinese government. A cartoon and trust the communists. And number 3, everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing it to such a large extent that the one country that isn't doing it, Boris Johnson, got 640,000 signatures from parents saying, you need to be shutting down schools. Okay, again, I then looked at the Spanish flu. Children were in acute danger, but like birth 0 to 1. Right, lower down to 4 years old, and then it goes up to between 25 and 34 year olds. So people of childbearing age were absolutely getting sick and dying 100 years ago. Now we got let's say virtually no kids dying, nobody of childbearing age dying, nobody of working age dying. People with pre-existing conditions and the elderly with pre-existing conditions dying. In Italy, you have, I think it was something like 46% of the people who passed away had 3 or more, I would say, at least 3 pre-existing conditions. Then it was 25% with 2, 25% with 1, and 0.8%, okay, that had no pre-existing conditions. Ivo, sveiks daini par nomoni gan tev nebūs taisnība. Jo nevis kaklā ir problēma, bet pašās plaušās. Un, jā, bet mēs te nerunājam par I'm not talking about pneumonia here. Es nerunāju šeit par pneumonia, ko es te esmu izdarījis. Es esmu prasījis, tagad tā Ja Latvijā, tas bija mans jautājums, ja? Ja Latvijā ir uz mata tie paši skaitļi kā Hubejas provincē, kur šito pandēmiju viņi ir pateikuši, ka tā ir beigusies. Ja Latvijā būs uz mata tie paši skaitļi kā Hubejā, tad pēc šīs pandēmijas Latvijā būs bijuši 2225, kuriem šito vīrusu konstatēs ar šito testu. Ja 2225 konstatēs šito vīrusu ar šito testu, tad ar Hubejas skaitļiem Latvijā, kad šito pandēmiju nosauks par beigušu, būs 103 mirušu cilvēku. Ja tad mēs paņemam Itālijas statistiku, 50, 25, 25 apmēram tā, jā, tātad būs kādi 46, 47, kas būs miruši ar vismaz 3 slimībām esošām, 25 ar 2 slimībām, 25 ar 1 eksistējošu slimību, jā, un apmēram 1 vai 2 cilvēki mirs, kur viņi varbūt konstatēs, ka mira no koronavīrusa vai ar koronavīrusu, bet ka citi vīrusi nav konstatēti. Tātad šitā statistika nav pneumonija statistika. Es pneumonija statistiku varētu ievilkt, jā, bet šī ir koronavīrusa statistika. Iemesls, kāpēc es šito gribēju apskatīties, ir, es vēlos jautāt, vai sociālā distance, pat ja viņa būtu iedarbīga, vai tā ir pamatota, un arī es vēl tagad vairāk nekā nedēļu meklēju zinātnieciskus pamatojumus par tieši šito sociālo distanci. Viss, ko es līdz šim esmu varējis atrast, ir, Daini, taču apskaties oficiālos avotus. Es meklēju oficiālos avotos, es lūdzu nevaru atrast zinātnieciskus pamatojumus šitai sociālai distancei. Es varu atrast vienu multifilmu par simulators, un es varu atrast budinājumu uzticēties Ķīnas komunistiem. Es nevaru atrast to zinātni. Es meklēju zinātnieciskus pierādījumus, un es atradu, ka apkampieni, jā, sociāla tuvība atbalsta imunitāti tieši šāda upper respiratory tract infections situācijās. To es noteikti varu linkot, un ja es aizmirstu to linku, es ielikšu iekšā, ja viņi nenobloķēs. Bet es lūdzu gribētu izlasīt pārējo tavu komentāru. Par pneimoniju gan tev nebūs taisnība, jo nevis kaklā ir problēma, bet pašās plaušās. Bet lūdzu, kur man nav taisnība? Ivo, uzraksti kaut ko tu uzskati par nepatiesu. Es šobrīd, man ir alerģija pret nepatiesas informācijas, tātad, ja es esmu kaut ko pateicis, kas ir nepatiesas, tad lūdzu izraksti to, ja tas ir kaut kāds skaitlis vai apgalvojums vai secinājums. Ja? Mēs esam šeit, manā raidījumā, mana publika, mēs esam alerģiski pret nepatiesību. Ja? Tātad, ja te esmu kaut ko pateicis, man viens draugs ārsts, viņš bija ievērojis, ka man te bija viena nulle pa daudz. Ja? Ja tur ir viena nulle pa daudz, tad var redzēt, tūliņ Latvijā būtu tikai 10 mirušo. Ja? Bet tad viena nulle pa daudz, tad pilnīgi aplami skaitļi. Šeit, tas nākošais skaitlis ir te, ja ar vakardienas Itālijas skaitļiem, ja mums Latvijā ir tikpat slikti kā Itālijā, tad būs 111 mirušo. Lietuvā 162, Igaunijā 77, Austrijā 510. Ja? Tas ir, cik mirušos mēs varam sagaidīt nākotnē, ja tie skaitļi izskatās vai nu kā Hubejas provincē, vai kā Itālijā vakardien. Itālijā mēs varam sagaidīt, ka tas skaitlis pieaugs. Nezinām, cik daudz, bet, ja Itālijā dubultojās tagad mirušo skaitlis, tad, nu, Latvijā būs 200, jā, te būs Lietuvā būs 320, Igaunijā būs 150, 154, jā. Un Austrijā būtu 1000. Ok, bet, protams, labāk vismaz 2/3 cilvēki ir jāpārslimo šī epidēmija, lai rastos imunitāte sabiedrībai kopā. Ivo, cik es saprotu, ir zinātnieki, kas saka, mēs neko nevaram darīt. 70% būs. Tagad tā, vai tas nāk no iekšpuses vai no ārpuses, tas ir ļoti labs jautājums. Vai mēs tagad esam zivis jūrā un jūras ūdens ir saindēts? I'm going to say that one in English, right? There's so much information that doesn't add up that I think it's worthwhile to look at different models of what could be happening. One of the models is that we're all fish in an ocean, right? So take the air, make it water, and instead of human beings that walk around, we're fish that swim around. Okay, we have an atmosphere. It's a very reasonable analogy. We're all fish in an ocean, and somebody dropped poison into the ocean. Currently, a particular subset of us, we're getting sick and we're dying from the poison put into the ocean. Now, instead of looking at what's the poison and who put the poison in, who's poisoning us, we're looking at who's poisoned. What about, so this is actually a prediction I made well over 10 years ago, where I said one of the defining aspects of the 21st century is going to be the difference between being sick and having been made sick. Are we blaming the people who are poisoned for their symptoms, and then they're not allowed to walk around with symptoms? But are they poisoned? If they're poisoned, what's poisoning them? Okay? Those are valid questions. Oh, that's okay. I'm switching between Latvian and English, and maybe tell us how to pronounce your name, Yahaira Laureano. Is it Yahaira? Oh, what a name, Yahaira. It's a beautiful name. I can't see if you're male or female, I guess nowadays. Sometimes it's not even considered a polite. I can't see. But anyway, Yahaira is a beautiful name. So, I'm going to read in Latvian. Par bērniem ir ierobežojumi tikai tādēļ, ka viņos ir daudz vairāk vīrusu, un kaut pašiem tas nekaitē, tad viņi vairāk var aplipināt ar to citus cilvēkus. This I'm going to translate. So, that's one of my big, and I'm just going to open up my Dynas Live. File, and here we go. So, please, lūdzu, Ivo, atrod zinātnieciskus pierādījumus, ka bērni ir kaut kādi vīrusa kaitekļi pilni ar vīrusiem, kas iet apkārt un citus aplipina. Cik es saprotu, ir arī viens... Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to do this in English. The way that this is what I would like. I would like scientific evidence that shows that children are vectors of disease. Because the way that I remember being taught as a child is that we went and we trained our immune systems, right? So we had to go off and we had to get sick, and then our immune systems got stronger because we were exposed to the world, right? And our parents and then our grandparents, their immunity fades. That's why they fade. Another part of this whole pandemic that I don't get is ain't nobody making it out of here alive. So we're not, we're all going to the same place. It's like, all right, so then the question is we're shortening the lives of people, apparently. So the 75-year-olds that passed away now, apparently either of or with COVID-19, and that's also super important. how many months or years have their lives been shortened by this? And is it a poison that's been put into our ecosystem? Now, are children the poison? To me, that just makes me want to defend all of the world's children. And this episode, thank the heavens, is going to go down in history. And then the year 3100, okay, even though I'm really stressed, I'm sorry, kids of the future, that, you watch this guy on the video, and I'm going to assume that it's going to be historically important that some people in 2020 stood up for children and said, no, children are not vectors of disease. That is an incredibly cruel and disgusting assumption to fire out at kids and to put into their subconscious minds. You should have seen how horrible my daughter felt because she had to go to her school, and without any physical contact, they brought her. A stranger had to take her pile, had to rifle through her stuff. So if a stranger had to invade her privacy. I'm big on privacy, okay? Privacy is important. Privacy should be trained. Privacy is something that should be respected. No, some stranger rifles through my daughter's stuff, finds everything that has her name on it, puts it in a pile because my daughter, sie darf nicht das Klassenzimmer betreten. She's not allowed to walk into her classroom. And this, they take this pile of books and leave it in the foyer for her. Because apparently, even the pile of books, that is a child. It's a book from a child. It's so disgusting. Ugh, a child touched my screwdriver. Ugh, it's so disgusting. I think the children, we should all be allergic to, well, maybe we don't need any children at all, right? I'm sorry. So somebody, I'm one of these people. I'm standing up and saying that's a really mean thing to do to the children of the world, to tell them that they're some kind of pustules of disgusting grossness. And I'm going to say, this is going to be my theory. I'm going to postulate. I'm going to, kind of stick myself out there with a theory, something unproven, or maybe not even unproven. I'm going to say no. Children are bearers of love, light, intelligence, good questions, laughter, and strength, and immunity. I just don't get it. Like, I was at a bakery yesterday or 2 days ago, and this little girl, on her little bike with her dad, is passing by, and she's, Papa, la, la, la. And like, what was she, 3 or 4 years old, right? This little walking beam of sunshine, this little 3, 4-year-old girl, she's somehow now some kind of a global toxin? Please, prove it. Prove it. To me, that little girl going by the bakery with, she got a little helmet on. She's so cute. Everybody who sees that smiles. It's the cutest thing ever. What are you talking about? They're some kind of vile, disgusting, pus-filled, snotty vectors of disease. So prove it. If you're going to make policy based on the assumption that children are vectors of disease, prove it. What about children have immature immune systems? They go and they get confronted with the toxins of the world, including the microbial world, okay? And they have to deal with it, and they sometimes have symptoms, and they sometimes don't. And then they get better and better and better at it. What about that? So, tātad Ivo, es esmu tagad apstrīdējis, vai vismaz jautājis, vai šitā tiešām ir vispār precīzi, vai tas ir precīzi konstatējumi, un vai tas ir labvēlīgi nākotnē. Man ir viena maz bērnu paudzes vai maz bērnu labklājības interešu grupa, ja, un šitādas lietas apsver ja skatās uz maz bērnu labklājību, vai lūdzu tā ir jēdzīga, vai tā vispār ir patiesa. Ok, so aplipina karantīnas pasākumi noteikti nevis, lai neslimotu vispār, bet lai tas notiek ilgākā laika posmā un nepārplūdina slimnīcas. Yeah, that's the official word, right? The official word is that instead of doing it the way civilization has done it for thousands of years, where you quarantine the people who are sick, all of a sudden, all the healthy people need to be quarantined to somehow reduce a spike in deaths and that overwhelming the medical system. Now, if we're going to expect a spike in the need for ventilation and in keeping people alive, what about therapeutic and immune-enhancing measures that can keep them alive? What's happened in Austria is they're saying that grandchildren should not have contact with their grandparents. What if those children can keep their grandparents alive? What if those children can make soup? The grandchildren can give grandma a massage. So when things don't add up, maybe social closeness, social proximity is either distance or closeness. Okay? What's enhancing your immunity? Distance or closeness. Iespējams, Austrijā ir pietiekama slimnīcu kapacitāte atšķirībā no Itālijas. Latvijā noteikti nē. Šobrīd esmu Francijā un turpinām strādāt. Nav nekādas pānikas un viss ir mierīgi. Ivo, viss nav mierīgi Austrijā. Te policisti brauc. Te ir kaut kāds trakums. Es iegāju Beķerijā, tur ienāca viens vīrs, jā, teiksim, bišķiņ vecāks par mani. Viņš gandrīz nokrita, vienkārši stāvot. Viņš griezās pie manīm un viņš vienkārši gribēja runāties. Viņš izskaidroja, ka viņam ir bailes, ka mēs varētu iekrist totalitārā režīmā. Viņam ļoti vajadzēja ar kādu runāties. Tas saspīlējums ir briesmīgs. Yeah. So I'm basically saying, no, Austria is like the buses. The buses are going at like 50% speed. So you get on a bus and there's like nobody on the bus, and then the bus is like going really slowly, even though there's nothing going on in the streets. And people are making large arcs around each other, looking at each other suspiciously and being afraid of each other. So if that's what we're going to do socially, I think it would make sense if there were scientific evidence. They're presenting scientific conclusions. They're not presenting scientific evidence. That's starting to get really disconcerting. Where's the evidence? Who are the scientists that have, originated the term social distancing? Where's the science? Where's the data? Not where's the beef? Where's the data? So, I'm standing up for the children of the world, and I'm saying that, children are not just vectors of disease. I'm just going to go out and say that. Children are vectors of health, joy, intelligence, jokes, laughter, energy, fun, games, learning, and everything good. Okay, PCR test. Is it even accurate? So we're getting these PCR tests. What if it's just like this? Roll the dice. Let's roll the dice. even number, you got, let's say even number is infected and odd number is negative. Like 6, oh, you're positive. Like there's some guy, he's online, he's on YouTube, he's like, I never had a symptom. Feel fine. I guess I was positive. Oh well. Like the people quarantined. And supposedly, then, if that person who was COVID-19 positive went out and infected everybody, which is going to happen anyway, because apparently the world is poisoned, right? So the ocean is poisoned. But anyway, somehow that's going to magically kill someone. That not just so we have a situation where we have epidemiologists only looking at quantity of contact and not looking at quality of contact, right? So not considering the science that says that contact is actually necessary because we're social animals and social creatures, and that's how we stay immune. I'm also going to say that I think that it's definitely an immune detractor, but to have closed schools down is definitely a detractor for that subset of our population's herd immunity. That really concerns me because the kids need the interaction. They need fun interaction, food, and they're not allowed to visit each other. It's horrible. And how that is going to extend and by how much it's going to extend the lives of these 17,000 people in the US, 103 people in Latvia, 149 people in Lithuania, 71 people in Estonia, and 472 in Austria. That's what I'd like to know. I looked up the global death rate globally with our current population, what is it, 8, 9 billion, whatever it is. It was 150,000 people die per day. Okay, and then what I'm probably going to add into this chart is what the daily death rate is anyway. And since this was a pandemic, it's going to have a start date and an end date. So the pandemic is going to have a daily death rate as well for these 58.5 million people. And then what we should get is the death rate with COVID-19 versus the death rate without COVID-19. So it turns into had this pandemic never happened, how many people would have died, right, on those days, like specifically on the days, March 19, March 20, like how many people would have died if there had not been this pandemic, right? So you know, so that'll be daily death rate, and the daily death rate is just how many people die per day, and how many more people died because of COVID-19. And if that's a statistic that politicians and some epidemiologists don't want you to know, then that's a massive red flag. Okay? Because there's a death rate. No one's coming out of here alive. The current global death rate is 150,000 a day. It would be interesting to look. Maybe there already is a statistic. You know, did 1,000 more people on the planet die on March 15th, 2020, on that day? So there's actually a population reduction happening as a result of this COVID-19. If the population reduction is happening and there are people who are interested in reducing the population, are we looking at an attack? Are we looking at there being a culprit here? Is this a natural born, quote-unquote, epidemic? Now, I'm sort of wandering back and forth from sort of reality and this fictitious world called Goodland. But in Goodland, we're taking a very, very serious look at the potential deployment of 5G technology. Okay, we haven't deployed yet in Goodland. Okay, in March 2020, 5G has not been deployed yet in Goodland. Okay, we also have strict regulations about geoengineering in Goodland, and also particular kinds of pesticides and particular kinds of foods are just flat out forbidden. Okay, we have a urban agrarian culture. We absolutely promote apartment and balcony farming, and we promote the sort of grow-free and food sharing. So one person on one side of the building has a lot of sun, so they grow tomatoes, and the person on the other side of the building has a lot of strawberries. So we promote food sharing, and so that's how things are happening in Goodland. And if you'd like to continue getting updates, so here's Chronicles, how I wish you can understand. There seems to possibly be another comment that I'm going to respond to. Schau mal auf die Seite Euromomo. Okay, Patricia, I'll check that out. And for now, let's see. I'm going to conclude this show with, that was my statement from the Chronicles of Goodland. I'll make the statement again so that I have kind of get into the pattern of completing my broadcasts with a statement from the Chronicles of Goodland. So Goodland is a country where everything is, where we love to get to receive the complaints of citizens from around the world regarding their experience in the countries that they live in and are citizens of. Okay, so we have an assessment department, and assessment people and our citizens are urged to take an active part on social media and to assess how things are going around the world. In Goodland, Goodland's either going to have 10 million or 100 million people. I think Goodland's going to have 100 million people. And no conspiracy theory is too stupid to be investigated and to be checked whether it's true or false in Goodland. And currently in Goodland, the schools are not closed. And families are being prompted to take care of their elders and to stay very close to their elders to find out what relaxes their elders, what's their favorite soup, what's their favorite juice. People are urged to stay hydrated, and like I said, we have strict, we have organic and natural farming, geoengineering is forbidden, and we have not rolled out 5G in Goodland yet. So that's been my Dynast.info TV show with the beginnings of the release of a book and a series called The Chronicles of Goodland. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching. Thanks for participating. Leave your comments, and I'm going to keep doing this, so feel free to share my video and let people know that I'm doing this, and there's somebody I really want to interview. So that'll be. Let's hope that comes together, and take care. Stay strong. Stay well. And bye-bye for now.